All right, so I am at the Giant Eagle Market District in Bethel Park, and we're taking a drive over to the Nevillewood neighborhood over in Collier Township. So my name is Mark McClinchie. I'm a real estate agent in the Pittsburgh area. If this is the first time on my channel, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. My channel is Mark Knows Pittsburgh. I specialize with home buyers from out of the area, long distance, moving to the Pittsburgh area. And as a real estate agent, I help them buy a home. And I started a YouTube channel with content helping people do research, learn more about the neighborhoods, the communities, what it's like to live in Pittsburgh. And one of the things that I started doing a few weeks back was doing these driving videos. A lot of people have questions about, it seems pretty typical, like what's it like to drive? And so many of my clients have not even been to Pittsburgh, or they were here years and years ago. So they sort of want to know what it's like on a daily basis to, to go about your daily chores and everything. And so I've tried to do a number of drives. If you go to my channel and there's a playlist about driving around in Pittsburgh, I've just picked a bunch of random areas to drive from one point to another. Most of the videos are about 15 minutes long or so, and I sort of narrate and give some tidbits as we go, where we are and where we're heading. So this is actually a Sunday afternoon in late April. And so we're doing a drive, like I said, from Bethel Park, and we'll be going through Mount Lebanon, going through Upper St. Clair, going through Bridgeville, and then over to Nevillewood. So it should be about 7-mile drive, about 15 minutes total. And again, no editing, nothing too fancy. These videos are actually pretty easy to make, because I just hit record and then add a little bit in the description. So speaking of, if you jump down to the description, I do always put a link of the Google map of the route that I took. So if you're a visual learner like I am, it's fine to have a nice video out my front windshield of where I'm driving, but if you're trying to put it into context of exactly where I'm driving, check out that link and that'll give you the exact drive. But yeah, we're coming down Washington Road. This is like Route 19. In the South Hills, this is the major corridor. Everything happens on or off of this road, particularly if you're on sort of what I call the western side of the South Hills. If you're on the eastern side of the South Hills, sort of the Baldwin, Jefferson Hills area, your Pleasant Hills, Whitehall, you're more of Route 88 and Route 51. But Route 19 is sort of our main thoroughfare for people that are living in like Dormont, Mount Lebanon, Bethel Park, Upper St. Clair. And so we are coming down to the major intersection down here on Gilkison Road. So this light always takes a little while. But we're at the Galleria. The Galleria is over there to the left. Galleria is a little shopping mall, not nearly as big as the South Hills Village, which is behind me about a half mile. But up and down this road, like this section of 19, can get congested at times, and I think people that don't live in this area give it a bad rap. But if you live in this area, you just sort of you get used to it very quickly, and then you learn to kind of appreciate the convenience of, even though everything is all somewhat congested, but it's easy to get to places. When you have to run errands and get to the cleaners and get to the florist and go to the grocery store and pick something up at the mall, and you're running around, you got a list of a bunch of things. I love being able to do that all within a mile of each other, and you can be quite productive and pretty efficient. So yeah, the Galleria is to my right, and this is Gilkison Road. This is in Mount Lebanon. And we got a red light here, so we'll stop and chat some more. Yeah, but like a lot of up and down 19, in that area that we were at when we left the Giant Eagle. Just a lot of major retailers. You've got your Targets, your Home Depots. You got a bunch of grocery stores. You got Whole Foods. You've got Trader Joe's. You've got Fresh Market, which is a nice little store. And of course the Giant Eagle where I was. So you got a lot of grocery store options. And then, you know, you've got a lot of chains, you've got a lot of chain restaurants, you've got a lot of fast food, Chick-fil-A's right there, McDonald's and all that other stuff. But yeah, we're on Gilkison. These are a lot of duplexes that are part of Mount Lebanon. Most of Mount, like, we're sort of in the southern end of Mount Lebanon, so most of Mount Lebanon is to my right, that way. So I'll put my blurry finger in the screen. We're coming up here to the intersection of Cedar Boulevard, if you're following along on a map, and so Cedar is one of the main routes through Mount Lebanon. But anyway, yeah, back to my channel. I mean, I hope you can explore other things. If these drives are helpful, great. I've got a bunch of other ones. Check it out. You know, they're not my most popular videos. I'm not getting like 50,000 views or anything on them. There's probably a small subset of people that find them interesting, of just listening to somebody drive and narrate a real drive. But if you're definitely wanting to get a feel for the Pittsburgh area, this is a good way to do it. You know, so we're kind of in the South Hills, kind of going over to on the other side of Interstate 79 where Nevillewood is. But yeah, I think I've done, I don't know, I've done at least a dozen of these videos now. I think this is like number 15 or so. And so I think I'll do, you know, maybe close to 20 before I sort of get tapped out and move on to my next project. But yeah, like, and I try to do them all different times of day. You know, I do them mainly midweek. This is one of the few weekend drives that I've done. I'm actually going to show a house, not in Nevillewood. It's actually quite further away. I didn't want you to tune in and make a video that's going to be 45 minutes long. But yeah, I'm actually heading up to way into Beaver County, north of the Ohio River, to New Brighton. And don't typically go that far, but I got a new client. He seems a really nice guy. He's really excited about this property, so I'm gonna go all the way to New Brighton. I don't typically go that far. I mainly stay, you know, all parts of Allegheny County. There really isn't a municipality in Allegheny County that I haven't been to or probably sold a house in. And then I go just sort of on the borders of Allegheny County, so just, you know, right in the suburban communities of Butler and Westmoreland, Washington, and Beaver. So we're actually on Painter's Run, even though we didn't turn on this road. You know, typical of Pittsburgh. You drive a lot of different roads and you never make a turn, and the road has several different names depending on what part of it you're on. So this is Painter's Run Road. We've got Upper St. Clair communities, mainly to our left. There's actually a small section to our right as well, which is mainly Scott Township. But there's a small sliver up in that neighborhood that's also Upper St. Clair. But yeah, we're heading toward Bridgeville. We'll be going through the heart of Bridgeville. We'll go by Dairy Delight, one of my favorite ice cream spots. So yeah, we've hit a lot of lights. So, you know, it's Sunday afternoon. Everybody's out, you know, running around. It's a beautiful day, as you can see. It's unseasonably warm. I think right now, looking at the temperature, says it's 88 degrees. Holy mackerel. Doesn't quite feel 88. I think my car is exaggerating. But nonetheless, it's definitely mid-80s. For late April, that's kind of bananas, considering we probably had like 40-degree weather just a couple days ago. But that's Pittsburgh for you. You know, the weather, if you don't like the weather, just wait a few minutes and the weather will change, and maybe it'll be something you like. I think people give the Pittsburgh weather, kind of a bad rap. Talk about Pittsburgh has more cloudy days than any other city, but I don't know. I don't know what you constitute cloud. Like right now, there's clouds in the sky, and I don't know how the statistics work, but it was full overcast, maybe, I don't know, early in the morning. So at one point it was overcast, but then at most parts of the day, it's, you know, partly cloudy. It's quite nice, quite sunny. You know, what's nice about Pittsburgh weather is we don't have a lot of severe weather. You know, we don't get tornadoes. I mean, it would be crazy weird and, you know, rare if we had a tornado, but those don't come in the regular. We don't have hurricanes. we generally don't have blizzards, not like the Northeast or something like that. I mean, we'll get our occasional snow event here and there, but nothing like crazy, nothing like shutting down the city. And we get rain, obviously. We get a decent amount of rain, but we get the 4 seasons. I think the weather's great. It gives you just enough to enjoy the winter, and then by the time you get tired of the winter, it changes to spring, and then spring right now definitely feels a little bit summery right now with the temperature getting so high, but it'll cool down here and there. But I really like the weather. I think the Pittsburgh weather is great, and like I said, to be able to not have as much severe weather, I think we're somewhat protected. We're not on the coast, so we don't have, like I said, hurricanes or some of the severe, droughts or wildfires and all the things that I have many clients escaping. A lot of people are in parts of the country where they just don't feel safe anymore, and there's a bunch of reasons why. But yeah, I get a lot of West Coast clients, Pacific Northwest, a lot of clients that are coming from the South, Texas, Florida, those areas. And then of course I get people that are, just coming from nearby, coming from Philadelphia or coming from, Columbus or something like that. But most of my clients are out of state, are doing long distance. So I spend a lot of time with my clients talking about neighborhoods and communities, and my YouTube channel has a lot of that information, but it's kind of, it's surface. It's just kind of like some of the basics of Scott Township or Bridgeville, or, I just have a few handful of paragraphs or sentences about, each area. But once I learn what a home buyer is looking for, we sort of play the matchmaking game of thinking about, the schools that might be the right fit for their family, and the community, and obviously their budget, and what they're looking for in a home, whether they want a big yard or whether they want to be access to public transportation. So we go through a whole process to kind of do a matchmaking process to make sure that we have the right places set up. And then I just spend a lot of time giving them more and more information, sharing properties. And I have a platform that my brokerage uses that a lot of my clients rave about. Super easy to have a back and forth communication with clients about the homes they're looking. So most of my clients, I work with for about 12 months, some a little less, some a little more, but that's about probably the average. People contact me, like right now I'm getting people that are pretty much ready to buy next spring. So they're doing their research, and they're like, hey, I'm not ready to buy this summer or even this fall, but probably next spring, that's when I think things will happen for me and my family, and can you help me? And so yeah, I jump on that right away. We start getting to work, and we do, maybe they're going to come in the fall and visit, just to get a lay of the land, and I show them around. I block out time for them. So yeah, most of my clients work with me for many, many months, and so by the time they do start their buying window, we have a leg up because they've done a lot of research and they're very familiar with the communities and the neighborhoods. So you'd be surprised at how much you can learn long distance when you're working with an agent. All right, so here's Dairy Delight to my right. Looks like it's always crowded. And this is the small little town of Bridgeville. We won't go through the sort of the main business district of Bridgeville. That's going to be to the left here, and we're going to go to the right. And then we're not actually that far from Nevillewood now. We're only about 2 miles away. This is Route 50, and it sort of runs parallel with I-79, runs all the way to Carnegie from here. So we're going to go left here on Presley Road, and we'll take this to Nevillewood. Nevillewood, by the way, one of, I don't know, probably 3 major, there might be some smaller ones here or there, but sort of residential golf course communities. I'm sure there's some areas of the U.S. where that's a much bigger occurrence. Happens pretty often, but in Pittsburgh, I guess because of our weather for one, but we have 3 big ones that come to my mind. They are Treesdale up in the North Hills, Diamond Run, also kind of in the North Hills, but a little bit to the west, not far from Sewickley, like it actually has a Swickley postal address. And then there's Nevillewood. And so I think I saw a research or a statistic the other day that said something like 75% of all residents of golf course communities actually don't play golf. So the majority of people are just looking for a nice community, and they have a certain budget in mind, a certain house style in mind, and golf course communities sort of fit that bill for a lot of people that find it a nice place to live. It's very scenic. You get lots of rolling hills, and whether or not you're right on the golf course or not. And sometimes there's mixed types of housing. You've got some townhomes, sometimes some patio homes, and then you also have single family homes. So Nevillewood has that as well, but it is a popular community. It is in Collier Township, which we entered a little bit back there as we turned onto Presley Road. And it's part of the Chartiers Valley School District, which is a great school district. It's one other thing that if this is the first time you've watched any of my videos or sort of learning about the work that I do, I was a former principal. I was in the city schools for a while and was a principal in a few other schools. And got to know a lot of my colleagues around the Pittsburgh region and other principals, people that I went to school with. So I know a lot about the other schools, and I've had some friends that were administrators in the Chartiers Valley school system, and speak very highly. So some of my sort of views or perspectives on schools are often just from personal experience, or maybe I've had clients that have sent their kids there and things like that. But Char Valley, I think, are a great school system. Great facilities. Strong with non-academic programs, music, art, and sports and things like that. So we're not that far from Nevillewood, where I'll just sort of cut this video off. But I appreciate everyone tuning in. Looks like we're about 17 minutes or so. Like I said, we did about 7 miles-ish. You can correct me on the... so here's the entrance to Nevillewood. Then you've got some nice little homes in here. Showed a bunch of homes. I haven't actually represented a client that's bought in here yet. It is a very nice, scenic community. And now's a great time of year, spring, so everything's like in bloom and coming out and really green and lush. There's Murfield Drive. So I'll go up here, and I think the clubhouse is to my left. So again, this is Nevillewood, Collier Township. If you are thinking about a move to Pittsburgh, please give me a call. I'd be glad to set up a conversation and talk about what your needs are and check out the rest of my content. Thanks for tuning in, and you have a great day.